What's up, amigos? It's your boy Tello bringing you another video today talking about the TurtleWoW update. You know, we do this series where it's Blizzard versus TurtleWoW or Blizzard versus the people, and it's continuing with more news on the case. So it seems like there is a massive bombshell being dropped right now with the motions in place against Mr. Zimmer, who is the person that they believe was leading the entire marketing with TurtleWoW that they are trying to pin everything upon, since they have no other names at the current moment at the 10x John Doe defendants that they're trying to find with the subpoenas that they have put in place to basically find where the money trail lies, to find these individuals, to track it all back to TurtleWoW. And it seems like Mr. Zimmer has counter-argued this, which Zimmer here did with his attorney, basically claimed to the courts that Blizzard is using allegations, defendants that either did this or did that, he said, she said type of stuff, without identifying what Zimmer individually did. And under the legal standards where there are multiple defendants, you must allege what specifically what each one did. So for each cause of action, the facts against Zimmer are insufficient. There's a direct copyright infringement that Blizzard is trying to allege against Zimmer, which he either uploaded or distributed Blizzard's code or otherwise took a violational act. There's also inductment where Zimmer alleged online posts showing that he either intended to foster infringement or did so for commercial gain. They're also trying to get him on contributory infringement, which is an allegation that Zimmer had actual knowledge of specific infringing acts and material contributed to those acts, as well as vicarious infringement where allegations made against Zimmer have the right and ability to supervise the infringing conduct, nor that he directed benefited financially from that type of infringing conduct that Blizzard is trying to claim. On top of the DMCA circumvention claim that Blizzard is trying to make, that he is saying, and his attorney, Blizzard doesn't allege Zimmer designed, sold, or trafficked any device or code to circumvent Blizzard's protections. Final two acts here, we have international interference with contractual relations, where Blizzard fails to identify a contract that Zimmer knew about and wrongfully interfered with, and finally the Lanham Act, which is false designation and trademarks, where Blizzard doesn't allege Zimmer used Blizzard's mark commercially or caused confusion. Now I know that's a lot to talk about, but long story short, there's a lot of acts here and claims that Zimmer and his attorney are basically saying Blizzard is falsely accusing him individually for. He is not responsible or tied to TurtleWoW, is what Zimmer is trying to claim. More importantly though, the biggest one that Zimmer is asking for is that they dismiss all remaining claims from counts 1 to 7 with prejudice and permanently because the complaint fails as a matter of law. Now, whether Blizzard would follow up with that is something that we were waiting to see until today, where the news dropped that Blizzard decided to continue with a motion to drop specific acts against Zimmer and his team in regards to being connected with TurtleWoW, but they are still pursuing other acts. But the specific acts that they dropped are the alarming bombshell announcement for this entire video. And what Blizzard agreed to with Mr. Zimmer's attorney is that they agreed to dismiss the following RICO participation and enterprise claims of conspiracy against Zimmer individually. But this is without prejudice. If Blizzard wanted to refile these claims at any point in time that they feel like it is a necessity to push and continue long doing the case and looking for more information on pinning it against Zimmer, they can. And this is something they could reopen unless it was barred from the court. However, these dismissals of these claims that they are removing off of Zimmer individually, once again, and they are going after copyright in specifics, is only applicable to Zimmer and no other defendants at the current time, which unfortunately, they do not have any other names that they truthfully believe are the people working behind TurtleWoW. This is the reason why they're issuing out the multitudes of subpoenas to find the connections through multiple applications, through multiple different software companies and people behind those companies, to find the daisy chain, to find the loophole, the rat hole, so to say, on where they can find where the money is flowing to what accounts and what true names lie behind TurtleWoW, to see if they can find that person to pin this against, if they can find where the money went to the wrong locations, to the incorrect spots that TurtleWoW is either A, trying to cover up, or B, maybe doesn't have connected to any of these accounts at all, which I would basically disagree with. There probably has to be something there, but at the same time, Blizzard will try to find anything possible to connect the dots. With doing that, we'll probably long do this case for many, many months to come, if not a year or so. It could be a very long time before we come to a resolution on who the hell truly is behind the Scooby-Doo mask. Or Scooby-Doo mask, if there's many of them of what they're claiming, the multiple John Does that they are trying to find to put the pieces together to even have this case. It's a reason why they're laying the entire hammer on Zimmer himself because they need to have the guy that's going to get pinned. You just dropped your main big argument that everybody was talking about, that was the lead concern of your case against the person that you have that is residing within the country, where everywhere else you have no access to, unless you were able to get some type of approval of jurisdiction or admission of guilt. But even then, you don't have nothing until a person comes up. So everything else is just invisible people, which is going to stretch out this case for a very long time. This might be a case that leads months to come, or possibly even years to come, if they don't have any other evidence that they can pin the RICO charges, which can then expedite all their other claims in their court system, in here in America, in the States, which is something that they want to do. They want to pin this as soon as possible before a Classic Plus were to come out. Because just imagine if we're living in a world where Classic Plus and TurtleWoW are along each other, side by side, and TurtleWoW is not shut down. It's like saying if Nostarius was still up while 2019 Classic was still up. There's never been that time in history, ever, that it's happened, because it never existed. So this might be the first time in history where this case might take so long. And if they can't find through the subpoenas of all the companies that they're going after, through the back doors of finding where the money is connected, where the rat trail lies, they're going to find themselves in a very tough position to even continue following up with the RICO charges, where that case in particular might get dropped, and maybe they reopen another case, maybe they push after other claims. But they have to find more people on the subpoena to find the true people behind TurtleWoW, find the cultivists that are really running the show. And unfortunately, they have nothing right now. It's been almost close to 3 months, and nothing has been occurring since they've been pushing out their subpoenas, pushing out their information, expedite these processes with the court's approval, and go through those companies to find any type of data or info that they can build up to make a case against newer names on the list responsible for TurtleWoW. But unfortunately, Zimmer's going to be the guy that they're going to hammer everything on besides RICO charges, especially when trying to avoid jail time, which temporarily right now is a W for Mr. Zimmer and his attorney, because they don't need to face those current charges unless brought back up again. And obviously with the stipulation as well, it explicitly states that neither party is admitting the merits of any claims or defenses or arguments. It's a procedural compromise only to push the case forward. It further states that also the agreement does not resolve any claims other than the 2 dismissed RICO counts against Mr. Zimmer. But another way of looking at it is that for the broader case against any other defendants, this type of stipulation signals a possible willingness of a negotiation that Blizzard is willing to do, or partial settlement activities that may foreshadow more deals in the future or motions ahead, even with Zimmer himself if they can't pin anything against him, or either B as well, which is the other side, if they find other individuals that are responsible for this, they might lead down the same tracks as they're going with Zimmer if everything else that they are trying to make claims on cannot be proven in court. So it really goes to show you right now, Blizzard is really playing off this one final musket style blow, their big haymaker, so to say, when it comes to finding out who else is involved with TurtleWoW so they can shut it down. And unfortunately, until they get that information from their subpoenas, until they find the data, until they see where this mystery maze goes and where it leads to at the end of the tunnel, they don't really have much going on right now besides putting copyright claims or DMCA claims or trademark claims against Mr. Zimmer, which his attorney is defending him. But that's really it. And everything else is just hearsay until we finally see other people arrive in court, in America especially, and show up stateside. Until then, nothing else is really going to happen. This case is pretty much just kind of slowly dying out until we get to see what happens to Zimmer himself. There's no other names. They have other names that they mentioned on their list that they might believe is involved, that they might consider was aligned with TurtleWoW. But these are mights and probabilities don't really hold up in a court of law. It has to be definites. It has to be actual data connected. And it's the reason why they have the subpoenas to begin with. So they need to find the information. They need to actually get the nail in the coffin for their case in order to finally put down the doors of TurtleWoW. Until then, TurtleWoW's remaining wide open for a very long time. And this is why I'm saying it's going to be up with Classic Plus at this point, just looking how they're handling this thing. And if they can't find anything else sooner, there might come a point where their case gets shut down entirely. Now, who knows? I'll be here to update you guys no matter what. But I really feel like with a lot of the things I was talking about many months ago and many moons ago at this point, if Blizzard would have just simply worked with TurtleWoW, a lot of this BS could have been avoided. And I understand. It sucks. Having your intellectual property rights just stolen from you is not something that people too much enjoy. piracy, all this type of stuff? Would you allow a person come in your house and just take food off your plate and then say, hey, this is my food? I understand it. I'm not naive to this. But at the same time, the reason why people love TurtleWoW so much is because it did something for the players that they have not seen from the classic team in quite some time. Or heck, even just Blizzard overall in quite some time. And I really feel like eventually, I really do hope there comes to some type of compromise, and I would find it ironic and funny if there is a compromise where both of them eventually work together, which you never know. At this point, is a possibility of happening in 2025, which is kind of fucking crazy to say, because at the end of the day, they have no concrete evidence on who the hell they are going after. It's just a bunch of names they're throwing against the wall. And Blizzard's very known about throwing shit against the wall until something works. That's been kind of the motto for them every expansion for the past several years. So just keeping it 100p with you guys. This is the current situation. This is the current update. At the current moment, the RICO charges at this time are dropped against Mr. Zimmer and his attorney, are moving forward with the copyright claims, and they're trying to find more information via, their legal actions through subpoenas and see what they can do with the multiple companies that they're contacting and trying to get any type of data or lead way through to find more collective information to hold a better case against other individuals that they can get names and concrete names of and find solidified evidence against the people that they've claimed on their list already to begin with versus actual people behind TurtleWoW, which they might never find. That's pretty much the video, amigos. Much love to you. Keep on keeping on. Hope you enjoy the updates. And I'll catch y'all on the next one.